Welcome back to Streaming Media West 2019. I'm Tim Siglin, contributing editor with streamingmedia.com. Today I've got with me two ladies, Rebecca Glashow and Shelley Zimmerman. The company is Awesomeness, which sounds like an awesome name. What exactly is Awesomeness?
Awesomeness is a digital studio, digital first, doing content for Generation Z. So we do content for YouTube and all the social platforms over the last 7 years, and then we have a TV and film studio reaching that demographic on the streaming platforms.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Interesting. So you said around for 7 years now?
Yeah, the company was founded by Brian Robbins over 7 years ago.
Okay.
To really take advantage of connecting with an audience that was really underserved as the birth of the internet and a lot of time and attention on YouTube. He was a longtime producer and director and really recognized with his own children and really the general trend of this audience spending a lot of time on new platforms and nobody really creating entertainment content and building a brand to reach with this audience on the platforms that they're on.
Okay.
And we've had a hand in evolving that brand over the years.
Interesting. So you all were on a panel, do I understand, just a few minutes ago. What did you talk about during that panel?
We were talking about how to reach audience, and Gen Z is this amazing audience because they're rabid consumers of content, but across many different platforms. So they're on, we all know, YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, and we're serving longer form television and film content to them. So we were sort of talking about the specialness of that generation and how they uniquely grew up in the digital era. They've only known smartphones, they've only known the internet, and so there are special opportunities in making content for them.
So to a certain extent it sounds like almost making lemonade out of lemons, because those of us who've been around forever and are concerned about the fragmentation, you're saying they're fragmented. You can't do anything about that. You need to meet them at the platforms that they're at.
It's no longer a one-size-fits-all where you get to deliver all their favorite programs to a linear experience. You know, they're going to different platforms for a different type of connection and entertainment experience. And as we know, they spend a lot of time on the streaming platforms and social platforms, and it's about building a brand exactly in a fragmented environment. And really, I would say that is the challenge. The opportunity is certainly, this is a very engaged audience.
Sure.
Passionate, they follow their talent everywhere. They follow shows that they care about passionately, and it's really tapping into that and serving them, and that's what we do at Awesome.
And as part of that sentiment analysis to figure out what platforms they're currently using, or how do you gauge, because you listed off 6 platforms,
Sure.
and we know on any given day it can shift to another one or one can sort of fall. How do you handle understanding the platforms themselves?
Yeah, that's a great point. We're in constant dialogue with our audience. We put up 15 videos on YouTube or on Instagram constantly, so it's through that dialogue that we learn more about them, but we absolutely have to always be at the front, not only of whatever platforms new that they may be driving to, but new features, whether it's IGTV or the power right now of Instagram stories. So it's a constant opportunity every day in the content we're putting out to see what they're responding to and learn more about the trends going on with them.
And it's interesting to think about, in the old days, the medium was constant. You just had to worry about what the content was. What you almost described is having to worry about gauging the content and the platforms because of the fact that there is this fragmentation.
Absolutely. I mean, you're creating bespoke content. So certainly on the streaming platforms with our TV and film studio, you know, those are longer formats,
Sure.
longer development cycles. YouTube, which I would also call in many ways a longer format platform. We do anything from 10 to 20 minutes. There's a lot of narrative, sort of, I would say, in some format-driven platforms that more time is spent there, and certainly longer watch times, and so that's the focus. When you get to the really truly social platforms, so whether that be TikTok or Instagram, the content experience is different. They're not really going there for a show. They're going there for a person,
clip,
a brand experience,
right, sure.
a moment. And so our touch point on Instagram may be very different than our touch point on YouTube or certainly on the streaming platforms. I had said inside there, and it's very true, that TikTok's still very Wild West. They're there's still a lot of just experimentation.
Oh, sure.
It's about, understanding these platforms and their innate experience, why people are coming there,
right.
taking advantage of the tools and functionality, and staying on top of them. And the trends are constantly changing.
And before TikTok, we had Vine and Meerkat and a number of these other solutions. How short is too short from the standpoint of content length?
For storytelling, which is, I'd say we really look to our traditional TV and film and YouTube as platforms where we can do character development, really build out a world and a universe. I would say what we focus more about, for example, I said in there, Instagram, to us, we've used that platform to focus on pop culture.
Okay.
It's really friends talking about what's going on, what matters, what's trending.
Okay.
We would not do a lot of that narrative content there, because that's not what people are coming for. They're just scrolling through.
The influencers.
So it's recognizing that there's a different content experience on these different platforms. But YouTube is really the longest sort of viewing experience that I think most
and
of us
engagement is different on Instagram. Our audience loves polls and loves actually engaging. Exactly. So that also is a different storytelling.
Started as a short form and has become the long form. So speaking of that, let's jump forward a year from now. What do you expect will be different and what will be the same as Generation Z sort of morphs into, a more mature generation? Will that affect the platforms they go to? Will it affect the types of content, or will we still, within the next few years, sort of see the same models?
I think that there's always opportunity for new, whether it's platforms or functions. I think for us, the great news is great stories, great talent, our relationship with all different types of talent and the social media influencers who are so important to this audience. Certainly new people will percolate up, but there's plenty of opportunity for us to continue to work with all different levels of popularity amongst the talent. So I think that's really, it's hard to guess in terms of if someone will.
Sure. And I think the other thing is a big part of our business is our film and TV studios selling to third parties. I think if anything, as this generation gets older and certainly more attention is given to it, you'd see greater and greater opportunity in the marketplace for what our expertise is.
Okay.
And certainly it seems like YouTube's not really going anywhere, but it is hard to predict. TikTok was not something people were talking about a year ago.
Right.
So it's our job to stay on top of it.
Yeah.
Certainly the smart people who work for us.
My fiance is actually a math teacher in high school, and she said that their school decided to have a TikTok dress-up day, and she had to actually go and look at who the TikTok influencers were to think about who she could possibly dress up by. And she said the same thing a year ago. Nobody was talking about it, and all of a sudden it's here. It's a thing. So, all right. Well, thank you very much for your time, and we'll be right back.